Welcome in to another episode of Friar Territory here on the Foul Territory Network. I'm Kyle Glaser. We have a very, very special show for you today. Dylan Cease will be joining us for an exclusive interview, talk about the Padres' early season success, what's been working for the rotation as a whole, and the adjustment coming over from Chicago to San Diego, and what have been the biggest differences coming over to the Padres organization. We're certainly looking forward to having Dylan join us. The Padres are currently on a fantastic run. They have won 10 of their last 14. They have won 4 of their last 5 series as they head into the Vetter Cup tonight, opening a 3-game series against the Mariners at home. Padres are 27-15, a little bit past the quarter pole of the season. Once again, as we've talked about all year, this is a team that is having a fantastic start in every facet. There have been a little hiccups from time to time. We saw the starting rotation go through a little hiccup early in the season. Of course, we saw the offense had that 30-inning scoreless streak when a few key guys were hurt. And more recently, the bullpen went through a little bit of a tough stretch where they blew leads in 4 of 7 games. But on the whole, this Padres team has been excellent. Talk about that 7-0 start, expanding that to 15-4. Of course, they had that little stretch where all those injuries hit their lineup where they did struggle, but they've bounced right back. And now that Luis Arias is back, now that Jackson Merrill is back, now that Jake Cronenworth is back, this is a team that's firing on all cylinders. And of course, Yu Darvish should be back soon. He made his first rehab start for AAA El Paso on Wednesday. Looked like the same old Yu Darvish, sat 94, touched 97, went 4 innings. Talking to Mike Schilt before the game, the goal was for him to get up to about 4 innings and or 65 pitches. Came in well under 65 pitches. So the velocity was there, the efficiency was there, the strike throwing was there. Yu Darvish is on his way back, and that's going to make this starting rotation that much stronger. Entering today, the Padres have the second lowest ERA among starters in the National League. And again, that's been with Yu Darvish missing the whole season. That's been with Joe Musgrove being out for the entire year after having Tommy John surgery. It's been Michael King. It's been Nick Pivetta. Dylan Cease's last 2 starts has been excellent. Randy Vasquez has stepped up. Stephen Kolek has yet to allow a run since coming up and making his first start for the Padres a few weeks ago. And of course, throwing a complete game shutout in Colorado in his second career start. This rotation, in many ways, has been the bedrock of the team. Again, the bullpen's been great. The offense has certainly had some really, really great moments as well. But when you look at start to finish, what has been the unit that has really been the strongest so far this year, it is the starting rotation. And of course, Dylan Cease is a huge, huge, huge part of that. We're very happy to have him join us today. Here he is. All right, we're pleased to be joined now by Dylan Cease. Dylan, thank you so much for joining us. Obviously, the starting rotation as a whole has been fantastic this year. What's been the key to your guys' success as a unit?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Man, I mean, I think Pavetta and King got off to such a crazy hot start. They've really done a lot of the heavy lifting. I mean, Randy's been great. He's filling up the strike zone. He's getting 5 or 6 every time he pitches.
Yeah,
Um, I've been pretty good of late. So, I think honestly, just attacking the zone and having a good game plan. Ruben and the entire staff preps us very well. So, we know how we want to attack everybody, and when we're executing, we're tough to handle.
absolutely. I know you, Nick Pavetta, and Michael King, your lockers are all right next to each other in the Petco Park clubhouse. How much do you guys push each other and compete with each other in kind of a friendly way?
Yeah, I mean those guys are very competitive, whether it's like gambling, golf, baseball, whatever. I think it's a healthy mix of if you're doing well, then they'll bring you down, and if you're in a good way, humble you a little bit, and if you're struggling, they'll help you and lift you up. So I think as a whole, our team really has a culture that's like that, which I think aids in winning.
Yeah, no question about it. You mentioned Ruben Niebla earlier. He's renowned as one of the best pitching coaches in baseball. This is your second year now with him. What makes him unique or different from other pitching coaches?
Yeah, I think yeah, it's funny. We actually talked about this recently. I think he's got a good knowledge of a lot of different areas, and he's able to kind of pull from a lot of sources, and because pitching really is problem solving, whether it's your body's not producing a certain thing, the spin's not right, or whatever it is. It's like there's 20 different areas you can look at. So it's there's psychological components, there's physical components, there's all kinds of things. So just being able to dabble and kind of have a general idea of which areas start in and which areas to really try
Yeah.
uh, makes a big difference. So yeah, I think he's just got a good general sense of everything involving pitching, and then he's not afraid to admit like, hey, I don't know for sure. Let's check this. Let's do this. So he's definitely one of the best.
Yeah. What was his message to you specifically when you came to San Diego? What have been the main things he's worked with you on?
Yeah, I mean, I think teaching the sweeper and adding and experimenting with different pitch grips
Yeah.
is one thing. Just always trying to get better in that sense of like, hey, let's see if we can add shape to another pitch. But for the most part, it's just helping with consistency and helping it because there's times where we get out of sync or we need to be told like, hey, your slider, your curveball is better than you think it is. Let's up the usage, things like that. So
Yeah.
it's really just being essentially a mechanic. He's a mechanic. We take the car in. He says, this needs to be fixed. This needs to be changed, and gets us back out there.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned pitching coaches. Sometimes they need to be a mechanic. Sometimes they also need to be a psychologist. How much of his conversations with you revolves
Yeah,
more around
absolutely.
mechanics and the physical component versus the mental side of the game?
It seems like it just seems like in the game of baseball, everything kind of blends into each other. It's hard to kind of take the physical component of it and then take the other aspects out. But I mean, we definitely talk about it all. We talk about the psychological. We talk about hey, did you feel like it's very easy to get, for an example, if you're not throwing strikes, it's very easy to back off on your aggression and start trying to place the ball and start doing things like that, and then you got to go like, hey, you're not getting swing and misses. Are you really even stepping on it right now? And you're like, man, no, I'm just trying to throw strikes. So there's a lot of different components to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming over from Chicago, you had been in the White Sox organization since you were a minor leaguer in A ball. You were traded over there from the Cubs, came up through their system, had played for them exclusively in the major leagues. They'd been the only major league franchise you had known. Coming over to San Diego, sometimes, again, it can be different. You know one way an organization does
Yeah.
things, go to a new organization, things can be completely different. What have been some of the biggest changes you've observed just coming from the White Sox organization to the Padres organization?
Yeah, it's honestly, I don't really want to be too compare oriented. I would rather just talk about how great the Padres are. I mean, we come to the park every day, and there's a high level of commitment to winning and excellence.
Yeah.
Um, there's basically a lot of resources to help us be our best version, and then there's a lot of brain power and analytical power in going into maximizing. So at the end of the day, it's major league ball players. Yes, there's some that are more talented than others and whatnot, but a lot of it is just using the pieces correctly and maximizing what you have, and things like that. So I think the Padres do an amazing job at that. They seem to always get the most out of their guys. They keep us out there. I mean, um, it really is a world class organization. But I'm very grateful for my time with the White Sox. That was, you know, a big period of my life, a very transformational period, and I have a lot of friends and people that I'm grateful for from over there. But I really do love it here in San Diego.
Yeah, in terms of off the field stuff, I mean, adapting to, the living, beach life, sunshine all year
Yeah.
round, I would imagine that helped ease the transition.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was difficult. Having to experience perfect weather and sun every day. It took me a minute to get used to it, but no, it's you can't beat San Diego, man. It's amazing here.
Yeah, absolutely. You were traded last year right in the middle of spring training, and for the Padres, they were literally boarding the plane to Korea when the trade
Yeah,
went through. So normally, whenever a trade happens, it's hectic. You have to pick up your life, figure out where you're going to live, deal with moving, all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
You had the added wrinkle of having to get to Korea and find your passport. How hectic were those first, 24 to 48 hours after learning you'd been traded?
yeah. I mean, it's a whirlwind of everything. The logistical side of it is crazy. I mean, but the good thing is like when you're at the major league level and you've been traded, it's there's a lot of people that are doing the thinking and the brain power stuff for you, thankfully, because if I had to do that on my own, I probably would have ended up in Vietnam instead of Korea. But there's a lot of people that really do the logistics for you, and it's as simple as, hey, what are you doing in the next 2 hours? Okay, you've got to pack this, go here, go here.
Yeah.
So that's between my agency and the Padres, and I mean, it's I was well taken care of, but yeah, it was hey, jump on this 13-hour flight, let's go meet the team and get everything rolling.
Yeah, and you flew commercial. I have to ask, did they at least put you in business class or were you in coach?
Oh, I think it was business class. It's hard to tell. I mean, it was I got my own little area where they folded out a bed. Well, sorry, padding. They folded out padding. It was like 85 degrees on the plane, so that was a little challenging. I wanted to take my shirt off, but I was like, this. Yeah, I'll probably get in trouble for that. So I had to just sit there and sweat it out. But it was worth it. It was a very cool experience.
Did you get recognized at all by anyone on the plane, flying with just
No,
regular folks? No.
no, no, not at all. Absolutely not.
Able to stay incognito. Yeah, and
Yeah.
obviously, again, this past off season, there were trade rumors that those types of things are going to happen. Opening day comes around, you're still a member of the Padres. Does that give you like a sense of peace? Like, okay, the rumors are done. I'm here now. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I know it's baseball and it's part of the business, and whether it's in spring training or halfway through or whenever, I mean, it can always happen. So, I've always just kind of taken the mindset that I'm going to focus on, being the best pitcher I can be, and just whatever happens from there happens. Because that's really all I want. I just want to be competent. I want to provide value for the team. I want to be somebody they can rely on. And at the end of the day, if I focus on just what I've got going on, I think that's when the best things will happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned your own performance. First few starts were a little up and down. You had an ERA
Yeah,
up near 6 after that start at
yeah,
Pittsburgh. Your last two starts have been excellent, two of your best starts of the year. What's changed?
yeah. It's mostly mechanical adjustments, and for me, when I'm going poorly, I just don't have a good feel for the ball. So it's hard to put it where I want. It's not. It doesn't move how it's supposed to, and it's not as sharp.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just have to sit and tinker, and it takes some time to figure out. But when I do figure out and I do get locked in, I'm very hard to hit. So uh, really just mechanical adjustments, and it's frustrating because you want to snap your fingers, and every game matters, but yeah, mechanical stuff really.
Absolutely. And your last start out against the Angels went really, really well. The Angels rallied against the bullpen. Fernando Tatis hit that walk-off, his first career walk-off home run. Just what was that
Oh
moment like
yeah.
for you and the team? That huge moment there.
Yeah, it's honestly shocking. That was just one. You think that guy would have about 10 or 15 of them at this point, but man, I mean, it's just pure excitement. Like he's who you want up there. Well, we've got like six guys you want up there, but he's arguably the best in the game, one of the best, and he's clutch. He's built for that moment. So, when he does that, I mean, it's electric.
Absolutely. You've played with some talented teams before. You made the postseason with the White Sox. Obviously, last year's Padres team, 93 wins, took the Dodgers to 5 games. This team definitely seems to be one of those, again, just super talented. Everything's clicking. How does this team kind of stack up for you with some of the other teams you've been on?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the most fundamental and clean baseball I've consistently seen. Last year's team obviously was great. We were especially the second half, but
Yeah.
just I mean, overall, it really feels like we very rarely shoot ourselves in the foot, and there's honestly a lot of games to be won that way. Baseball is one of those games where when you watch it, it looks, especially at a high level, we make it look easy, but it's still a very challenging game, and one little mistake can lead to 2, 3 runs. So, the fact that for the most part we're able to limit that, I think that's one of the things that really one of the superpowers of this team for sure.
No question. I would imagine too for you on the mound, it's a nice little security blanket in your mind. You know that your defense is going to play clean behind you. They're going to be there to pick you up, and I would imagine
Yeah,
it just is a nicer feeling.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got guys all over the field that play with effort, they play with energy, and then they're good. So it's like, not that I'd ever worry about that either way, but it's I definitely, when the ball's put in play, I'm definitely expecting, you know, Obviously, if it's a rocket, then it's like, oh, that's probably a hit. But for the most part, if it's put in play, I'm thinking someone's going to be there. You know.
For sure. You mentioned, clean baseball, fundamentally sound baseball, a lot of energy. How much of that is a function of Mike Schilt and kind of his managerial style?
Oh, it's definitely a big part. I mean, he's you know in the truest sense, he's the leader of that. He dictates culture. He keeps everyone accountable, but at the same time, he's able to do it in a way where you feel cared about, and it's not, it's not forced. It's not inauthentic. It's a very authentic style of managing, of creating culture, and yeah, man, it's special. He's one of the best for sure. I mean, he's really great.
Absolutely. All right, Dylan. Well, I know you guys have a series against the Mariners to get to. We really, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right. Once again, that was Dylan Cease, kind enough to join us before the Padres game against the Mariners tonight. And a lot of really good stuff there, talking about, again, what makes Ruben Niebla special, that ability to draw so much information from so many different sources, just being able, again, to talk to different players in different ways and really just hit on all the things that go into pitching. A lot of times coaches come up through one school of thought or approach things the same way over and over and over again or aren't able to specialize. And I think that is something that makes Ruben Niebla really, really, really unique, and it was a great deal to talk about it. And of course, we've talked about all year, this Padres team is playing clean, fundamental, energetic baseball, and it's not just us sensing it from the press box or from the stands or in the locker room. The players are sensing it, they're feeling it, they're feeding off of it. And I thought it was really, really, insightful for him to mention that they feel it and something that they are riding, and it helps him on the mound. And a lot of it is Mike Schilt. We've talked about this a lot. Mike Schilt definitely has a chip on his shoulder, has an edge to him, is a very, very smart baseball mind. I had a conversation with Jason Hayward prior to the Padres game against the Angels on Wednesday. Just one of the things he talked about that stands out about Mike Schilt is, Jason Hayward mentioned, he's attentive to everything. And that's very, very hard to do as a manager in today's game, to be 100% laser focused on everything happening all at once and being able to kind of take in that information and make a decision or a judgment off of it, because you have so many different things coming at you. And he has a really, really unique ability to see everything all at once and take it in all at once. And on top of that, he just sets the right tone for the team, sets the right energy for the team, and ultimately runs a clean clubhouse. And that's what you want from your manager. Mike Schilt has been a big, big part of the Padres' success. I've talked about this. I've covered the team formally, since 2015, was doing a little bit of work covering them prior to that as well, dating back to 2013. And I've been in this clubhouse every year, gotten to know every Padres team since then. 2020, we weren't allowed in the clubhouse, but nonetheless, you see every team every year has different identities. And one of the things that has really stood out to me about this year's team is there's a quiet confidence. I thought last year's Padres team was one of the healthiest clubhouses I had been in, really, in all 30 ballparks. And again, being both a beat writer and then moving up and being a national writer, I've had the good fortune of covering every team, being in every clubhouse, getting to know players, from all over the country, and really all over the world. And one of the things with the Padres clubhouse last year was there was an energy and there was an enthusiasm and there was a positivity that hadn't really been there before. And I really give a lot of credit to Jerks and Profar and Jackson Merrill for bringing that in. They were really, really the two guys who added that dynamic, and it was an important one for the Padres last year. This year's clubhouse, again, there's just that quiet confidence. Hey, we know what we're capable of. We're going to go out, we're going to play clean baseball. And if we lose, so be it. We'll bounce back the next day. And that's really, really healthy. A lot of teams say that. A lot of teams talk that way, but you can feel they don't really believe it. You can see it in their body language. You can hear it in their tone of voice. This is a Padres team that's very, very authentic. They know they're good. They're going to go out. They're going to play good baseball. More often than not, they're going to win. And the days they don't, they can brush it off. We saw them do that against the Angels, suffering that crushing loss on Monday night, bouncing back to win in walk-off fashion on Tuesday, taking care of business on Wednesday, wrapping up a 10-4 stretch heading into this series against the Mariners. Then they head on the road. They'll face the Blue Jays and the Braves. So things are about to get a little bit tougher than they have been, but good teams take care of business against the bad teams. That's exactly what the Padres have done. This has been another episode of Friar Territory here on the Foul Territory Network. Go ahead and give us a review, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, whatever platform you're watching and listening on. We'd love to hear from you. Again, subscribe, leave us a review, helps us out. We love hearing from you, our watchers and listeners. Special thanks to Dylan Cease for joining us. I'm Kyle Glaser. See you later this week.